Scene Mom says, welcome to the podcast from former Phoenix radio host Danny Cutler. Each week bringing you independent music, industry news, the occasional interview, and other fun segments. Let's get to it. Scene Mom says hello and welcome to episode 92. I'm Danny, your host and Scene Mom, and I'm so glad that you have joined me. Well, I have returned from my grand adventure driving to Arizona and back. I left on March 28th and I returned on April 22nd. I stopped in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Iowa, Nebraska, and Colorado, visiting family and friends before getting to Flagstaff, where one daughter lives, and then Phoenix, which is where I spent a week and a half. Then I did the trip in reverse. This wasn't my first time driving across the country, but it was the first time I did it alone. I wasn't nervous or anything like that, though everyone I talked to was very shocked that I was driving across the country by myself. And I don't know if it's the gray hair, but it was no big deal. It really wasn't. It's all about awareness, right? Being aware of your surroundings, being aware of what to do, being prepared in case of emergency. I mean, all those things. The drive itself was luckily uneventful. My driving schedule worked out perfectly to avoid some crazy tornado weather that was happening across the Midwest, because I had to do a drive between Iowa City and Alliance, Nebraska, and it was covering both of those states. And right in between were where all the tornadoes were popping up. But I found myself on the better side of both of them during my trip. I did get stuck in one snowstorm driving through Colorado, but hey, I've been training for this the past 3 years living in Massachusetts. I really enjoyed my time in the Phoenix area immensely. It was so great to see my daughters, my in-laws, and so many friends while I was there. And I also went to a couple of shows and I caught up with a client too. So it was a very well-rounded trip. Other than the climate sucking every bit of moisture out of me, I had a blast. It's definitely the people I miss in Arizona. That's really it. So once I got home, I spent the remainder of the week recovering, and now I am rested and ready to jump right back into the show. So I have got your music news, music history, a marketing tip, and an interesting science environmental story to share. And of course, I've got a few indie tracks for you as well. So let's get back to the music with one of the bands that I went to see while I was in Phoenix, Tempe specifically. The Tempe History Museum has a big amphitheater outside, and it was just a gorgeous night and a great place to catch some live music. Scattered Melodies is more like my fam band to me, since I had the honor of playing on their Patterns album and performing live with them several times back in 2018, 2019. I'm not the strings in this particular recording, but I have played it live many times, and it's such a great tune. It's a lot of fun to play. This is called Philly, and you're listening to what Scene Mom says.
Slick Willie talking on the telephone. He's a Gucci boot man with a plan. His Sheila's all alone as she sits at home. Downstairs plays the 8th Street Band. They had a real deep thing about 10 years ago, but in time it's faded in the sun. They flip, they flop, they fought and stopped. Now the silence is a loaded gun.
Oh, 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 I can't take it anymore.
But I'm just trying to get my baby.
He's showing up, he's all alone. Yes, he's all alone, but he don't show nothing to me. His whole life is in ruin, 'cause he ain't bringing nothing home, bringing nothing home. But that don't mean nothing to me. I don't wanna let you go.
It's like a movie, it's like a TV show.
I don't wanna let you go.
It's like a movie, it's like a TV show.
Listen up, tell me what you need now, boy. Tell me 'cause I'm all alone. Tell me what you see now when you're all alone, all alone.
I need a little green in my hand. I need a woman that understands. Ain't trying to harm you, girl. All I am is a hungry man. And
I will not let you go. I will not let you go. Baby, you need to know. I will not let you go. I will not let you go. I will not let you go. Don't be afraid no more. I will not let you go.
it's like a movie. It's like a TV show. Baby, you move me.
I don't wanna let you go.
It's like a movie, it's like a TV show.
I don't wanna let you go.
It's like a movie, it's like a TV show.
Again, that was Scattered Melodies with Philly off of their album Patterns. C-Mom says it is time for some music news. This news is a couple of weeks old, but it is still worth talking about. In a landmark decision, a federal jury has ruled that Live Nation Entertainment and its ticketing arm Ticketmaster operated as an illegal monopoly, overcharging fans and suppressing competition across the live events industry. The case was brought about by the U.S. Department of Justice and dozens of state attorneys general, and it found that the company used its dominance over venues, touring, and ticketing to maintain control of the market, with evidence showing fans were overcharged by roughly $1.72 per ticket. While the verdict is being hailed as a major win for consumers, artists, and independent venues, the immediate impact could be limited. Penalties and potential remedies, including fines or even a breakup of the company, still need to be decided by a judge. And of course, Live Nation has indicated that it does plan to appeal. Now, the ruling marks a big moment in the fight over ticketing practices, but real change in pricing and competition could take years to play out. If there are any real changes that happen, I certainly remain skeptical. I mean, the Department of Justice tried to settle with Live Nation, and the state's attorney generals are the ones who kept the lawsuit going. So the DOJ doesn't get a lot of credit in my book. The only way that I see any real change happening is, one, people stop going to concerts that use Live Nation, and two, venues and artists stop contracting with them and use different ticketing sites. I don't see either happening anytime soon. It's still easier for people to complain than actually take a stand. In other news, YouTube is making a major play to turn its massive base of, quote, audio-first listening, like podcast, music, and background playback, into a dedicated advertising product, and has tapped SiriusXM to handle the sales. Under this new exclusive deal, SiriusXM will sell ads tied specifically to moments when users are listening rather than watching, creating a new category of inventory that reflects how millions already use YouTube as an audio platform. Now, the move comes after YouTube realized just how much passive listening happens on the app, podcast music streams, and that it didn't have the in-house expertise to fully monetize it. Now, advertisers will be able to target those high-attention audio moments at scale, signaling a big shift in how platforms think about their content, not just as video or audio, but these kind of hybrid experiences where listening behavior is becoming just as valuable as watching. We'll see how that plays out as well, because that's kind of interesting. How will they do that? Is it just going to be like an audio ad that plays and your brain can process it differently than if you're watching? I don't know. Now, for independent musicians, YouTube leaning into this audio-only listening and partnering to sell ads around it is a signal that the platform now sees itself as a serious competitor to Spotify and other streaming services. That means indie artists who already use YouTube for uploads and lyric videos and visualizers could benefit from more monetization opportunities that are tied to this passive listening, not just video views. But there is a catch. As YouTube builds out this ad ecosystem, if you will, revenue may become more dependent on platform-controlled ad inventory rather than direct fan support. So in other words, artists might see more ways to earn, but have less control over how those earnings are generated. And it also raises the stakes for optimizing content for that listening behavior, meaning things like a long-form mix, consistent uploads, podcast-style content, could become just as important as traditional music releases. This is what I do not like about the social media world. Instead of just putting your content out there, they keep tweaking things so that you actually have to change how you create in order to be seen. And I really do not appreciate that. It's like with indie music suddenly having a pop edge to it because everyone was like, oh, you need to have a pop edge and you need to have a collaborator with you. And that became all you heard on the alt radio. And I just don't like that. Everyone is tweaking in order to be heard, but they're not creating the things that they want to create necessarily. I'll have to explore that further in a future show sometime. It's a very interesting thing to think about. All right. And in rather hilarious news, Kid Rock is cutting ticket prices for his Rock the Country festival by up to 50% after slower than expected sales. And while organizers point to rising costs and demand, the reality is probably a little more layered than that. It was originally marketed as a major multi-city event featuring artists like Miranda Lambert and Jelly Roll. The festival has faced a rocky lead-up, including lineup changes and underwhelming demand. In promoting the discount, organizers cited rising fuel and travel costs as a way to help fans afford the experience, offering general admission tickets for as low as $59. But the move has sparked skepticism and frustration, especially from fans who already paid full price, and it highlights challenges in the live music market, where even high-profile star-driven festivals are not immune to pricing pressure and shifting demand and audience fatigue. Festival fatigue is a real thing right now, with fans being more selective about where they spend their money, and the live market overall is just more crowded and expensive than it used to be. But there's also a bit of a branding factor here. When an artist's live experience or whatever is closely tied to a strong political identity, it can energize a core audience while narrowing the wider pool of just casual buyers who want to go to a show. So it's not just pricing and it's not just demand. It's a big mix: economics, saturation, audience identity. And in today's landscape with festivals, even a big name can't assume that the crowd is going to show up the way it used to. I suggest independent festivals. Yes, I do. Like the one I'm throwing with a bunch of friends of mine at the end of May called Montepalooza. All right. Well, that is your music news this week. And if you have any feedback or other thoughts, you can always email me, scenemomsays@gmail.com. was Tempe band Jaffe's Descent with Cuyahoga, another band I was able to catch while in Arizona. They have this really cool album from 2014 called Christopher Robin, and every track has to do with someone or something in the 100 Acre Wood. I highly recommend it. It's a great little album. I'll have a link to their Instagram in the show notes. It's the easiest way to keep up with the band. C-Mom says it is time for some music history. On April 15th in 1964, after a long day of filming their first movie, Ringo Starr described it as a hard day's night. John Lennon immediately turned the phrase into a song, and the film's title was changed from Beatlemania to A Hard Day's Night. I never knew that specific little tidbit there. On April 16th in 2018, Kendrick Lamar's album Damn won the Pulitzer Prize for Music, making him the first rapper ever to win the award, which had traditionally gone to classical composers or jazz musicians. Don't tell Drake. On April 21st in 1960, Dick Clark testified before Congress and admitted to taking money and gifts to play records, acknowledging that about 27% of his playlist had been paid for in the government's crackdown on payola. Clark survived the scandal and, of course, went on to expand his music empire. Another little tidbit I didn't know. On April 21st in 2016, Prince died at 57 in his Paisley Park estate from an accidental fentanyl overdose and shocked the world. Landmarks from the Eiffel Tower to the LA City Hall were bathed in purple light in his honor. And on April 29th in 1975, Bing Crosby's White Christmas was played over American radio in Saigon as a coded signal for U.S. personnel to begin evacuating, which marked the fall of Saigon and the end of the Vietnam War. Another little tidbit I didn't know. These were good ones this week. There's some music history for you.
Excellent!
C-Mom says it is time for your marketing promo tip of the week. And this is something that I want every small business owner and independent artist listening to really understand. You do not need more money to reach more people. You just need to put the money you already have in the right places. Edison Research and Nielsen just published a case that proves it. A major pharmaceutical brand was spending 100% of their advertising budget on television and reaching 39% of their target audience. They didn't add a single dollar to their budget. They just shifted 5% of what they were already spending into podcast advertising. Now that is one small move, and it pushed their reach from 39% to 55%, a 41% increase, and put their brand in front of 26 million additional people. Now think about that in terms of your own business. If you're promoting a product, a service, an event, or your music, it doesn't matter. If all of your eggs are in that one basket, you're leaving a huge chunk of your potential audience completely untouched. Everyone does this with social media. They just run social media ads and they don't get anywhere. Now, here's the thing about podcasts specifically. The people who are listening, they're already in an engaged, focused mindset. They chose the podcast. They chose to press play. They're not scrolling past your ad. They're actually listening. And that's a completely different kind of attention than most advertising will get you. Now, I know that on all of these podcast forms, you can skip through 10 seconds or whatever and skip through ads. But if you're driving and stuff, a lot of people will not do that. So this week's tip is simple. Look at where your promotional dollars are going and ask yourself, is there something small I can do and change something that puts me in front of the people that I'm not yet reaching? Because the data says even a small move will make a very big difference. So get in touch and let's talk specifically about your business strategy. If you want to chat more about marketing and promoting your music or your brand, you can always schedule a consultation with me at DannyCutler.com. I also have a twice monthly newsletter for even more information, and there is also the private Facebook group. And yes, all the links will be in the show notes.
Flowers on a grave with a daisy and a rose for you. Watered by wild eyes, surrendering the pride to truth. And I hope a rattlesnake don't get bit by you. And I was hoping you could stay and come and bite me too. a nurse, I need to dress this wound. And I hope the Novocaine will help to numb my tooth. Now I can't even feel my face, but I still feel this bruise. See me now. See me like you did back then, just see it through somehow. Yes, I see you when see me as your truest love, just see me as your friend. See me now. See me like you did back then, just see it through somehow. When the ghosts come out, see the shadows walk down the hall, you leave without a sound. Yes, I see you when see me as your truest love, just see me as your friend. In a rattlesnake, don't get bit by you. In a rattlesnake, don't get bit by you. In a rattlesnake, don't get bit by you. In a rattlesnake, don't get bit by you.
One more for you from Arizona. That was Sedona musician Decker with Mojave off his album Ouroboros. He's actually going through a bit of a creative transition right now. He's having his final show as a band in Phoenix in June. I'm very excited for what his next chapter holds. C-Mom says now it is time for some nerdy science news that could have a music twist to it. I'll let you be the judge. A UK startup called NPK Recovery is turning an unusual waste product, human urine collected at festivals and events, into fertilizer to help grow a new forest in Wales. The Bristol-based team, working with the University of West England, captures urine from portable toilets at events like marathons and music festivals, then processes it into a clean, odorless fertilizer rich in nitrogen and other nutrients. It's already been used successfully to regrow grass and support crops, and now it's being tested for the first time on trees as part of a 3-year Forestry Commission-backed trial. The project will help grow around 4,500 native trees, including beech and Scots pine, in a new woodland in Monmouthshire, with the long-term goal of improving UK fertilizer security and reducing reliance on costly synthetic alternatives. Researchers say the approach could offer a circular, sustainable solution that turns a waste product into something that supports ecosystems for centuries to come. I wonder if that could catch on here in the U.S. All right, that is it for episode 92. Links to all the music and news you heard this week will, yes, be in the show notes. If you have any feedback, you can always get in touch on social media. C-Mom Says on Facebook and D Cutler AZ everywhere else. Or you can email cmomsays@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, please share. It helps support these amazing artists as well as myself. Thanks as always for listening, and you'll hear me again soon. You've been listening to the Scene Mom Says podcast. Intro, outro music is Look Good for the Radio by Fairy Bones. Learn more about Danny and the show at dannycutler.com.